Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the SC Fanguard. My name is Mark, and I marched Santa Clara from 1997 to 2001.
And I'm John, and I marched in SCV from 1979 through 1981. And today we got a bunch of guests, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
Absolutely. Why don't we start off with Miss Samantha Chancellor?
I am Sam. I marched the Vanguard Cadets 1998 and 1999 on mellophone, and then I marched in the A Corps 2000 to 2003 on mellophone.
Thank you so much for being here, Samantha. And let's go next to, let's go down to Mr. Troy Campbell.
Hello, it's me again. I marched Vanguard on soprano in 97, 98, switched to mellophone 99 and 2001. Go Vanguard.
And let's move over to Mr. Julio Sandoval. Julio, nice to see you, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm Julio Sandoval. I marched Santa Clara Vanguard Cadets 99 and 2000 and 2001 through 2003 on a variety of different instruments. I just kind of filled holes.
We have two staff members with us today. Very, very excited to have these gentlemen with us. First, let me introduce to you, hailing from Arizona, Mr. Phil Vallejo.
Hey there, Mark. Thanks for having me, and John. So my name is Phil Vallejo. I marched in the Vanguard Cadets in 1995 on the bass drum. I played bass drum number 2 that year. No, 3. And then I marched in the A Corps from 96 through 99. I played fourth bass and second bass. And then I taught the bass line in 2000 and 2001.
And last but certainly not least, all the way from Detroit, Michigan, Mr. Marc Whitlock.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mark. I marched drum corps. I started in 1980, and I went through to 87, and I marched various corps, including my first corps was the Golden Knights, a little what we call the Class A corps back in those days, and then went to the first year of Star of Indiana and aged out in the cadets, and I've been teaching since 88 on, and I was very privileged to be a part of the Vanguard family and asked to teach from 2000 to 2003. So I thank Dean Westman and Jed Weeks and those guys for having me on board and to be an adopted member of the Vanguard family, a true classy, wonderful organization. And I had a phenomenal experience teaching the corps.
Very happy to see everybody here. Oh my goodness, this is the biggest Fanguard reunion that we've had so far, and we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do this and have a coherent video, and we thought we'd start by kind of jumping right into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the show tonight is a super meaningful one to myself. This is my age out year, Santa Clara Vanguard 2001, a new era metropolis, and I just have so many wonderful memories. It was my age out year, the last of my 5 years, and we're going to get into the show. Before we do that, I'm going to have our wonderful guests introduce the different musical numbers that we played in Santa Clara 2001.
Yes, we've opened up with, there was a beautiful lullaby, but the first song was called The Alarm, and boy, was it an alarm.
Yeah, the second tune by John Adams, The Short Ride on a Fast Machine.
The next tune was Variants on a Medieval Tune.
Then we transitioned to, I'm reading to make sure I don't mess this up, it was Jug Blues and Fat Pickin' by Donald Freund.
And our closer was a very festive piece called New Era Dance by Aaron J. Kernis.
And that was the namesake of the show that year, New Era, with the famous New Era chant. And man, I've got memories coming back right now, but let's get into this and start watching it, and everybody can chime in. And then at the end of the show, for everybody who's really excited about watching the commentary and kind of our thoughts and impressions and memories, we're going to do a lot more of that at the conclusion of the course performance. Let's get ready for this. I'm excited. All right.
On the field, from Santa Clara, California, performing their 2001 program, New Era Metropolis. Please welcome
Look at this guy.
the
There
Santa
he
Clara
is.
Vanguard.
Get you.
Are the judges
That is
ready?
me. That is me.
You remember when Brent Crocker would come to our rehearsals and
John David Minharas.
say the beginning of the show?
Yeah.
Yep.
How
So
lucky were we?
Wow, really? That would be cool.
So right here is
to hear
the
that voice at a rehearsal.
Santa Clara Vanguard.
That's Sam right there.
That's
There's
me.
Sam.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hey, it is.
I
so
get
right here is
to
the
have
closest
me.
thing to a drum major solo that you'll get. There you go,
It's
right?
true.
It's a no pressure set right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So the pit's playing at 160 in 3/4, and I am conducting the entire core at 190 in 4/4.
Easy.
There we go.
Yeah.
And how about that horn snap, too? Everybody made a big deal about the Vanguard in 2018 with their horn snap. I was like, here we go, 2001.
Oh, yeah. The original. I would go as far as 97 when we bring our horns down on the drum solo. That
Ooh,
horn
yeah,
snap.
that was a good one.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
So here we are in Short Ride in a Fast Machine. I believe those first notes for trumpets were high E's. Am I correct on that? I'm not...
Something like that. Yeah, I think
They
so.
were something.
High B. If you are in B flat horns by that time, you'd be a
That's
high
true.
B written
Yeah.
for them.
Oof.
Yeah, this was our first year on B flats.
Yep.
Yeah.
We
Or
had
F.
gotten our B flat horn, or
That
F
is
mellophones,
true.
yeah, gotten those.
I always
in
loved
May?
this four against
March?
three Hemiola section.
Oh, yeah, I love this part in music. The tubas against the high brass.
Hey, Mark
This
Irons,
drill.
how many nightmares did you have about the wood block moving around the field all the time?
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
You know, getting to watch you guys march this drill, this is really Myron at his best here.
I love this low brass.
There's
and
so many
mouthful thing right here.
references to time. So every time you think you're seeing a moving clock or a moving hand, you are.
Well, you know what time it is right now.
Melville rip
This is
time.
Here you
the
come,
flag
Troy.
heard around the world. Here you go.
Oh, man.
All right.
I remember I was vying. I was vying for a mellophone spot because of that section.
Oh, it was glorious. And I knew it would be on camera. I said, "This is our moment."
This is the most
Remember you
beautiful
told me.
musical section of the whole song, and I was so bummed that you guys were face back field. I was just like, ah.
You know, one of the
playing
things
so
that
loud,
I'm
too.
listening to this that comes back is absolutely musical and exquisite writing of Jim Casella, especially like in the bass drum parts and how
Yes.
Yes.
how much they complement like what's going on with the horns with just it's just beautiful.
All right, here we go.
And
Bring
then
it
this
home.
tag ending too gets me every time.
Oh man, I broke my horn so many times during this parade rest. Sam, you know,
I was right behind you.
I broke it that night too.
I got
broke
to
it at
turn
the
around
rehearsal in the
right
morning.
there, do the salute. As you guys did the parade rest, I went salute. That was so fun.
Yeah,
You did it in time with the parade rest, didn't
Oh, yeah.
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Timed it up.
amazing.
I love this split riding in the tenors.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Guard had a lot of fun in this show.
So many things
It
being
was so
said on
fun
the
being
field
able
right now.
to. Yeah. All the individual characterizations were such a nice touch.
Yeah, Mark Whitlock, you had talked about Casella's writing, and there's so much intricacy about the percussion section talking to each other, having this communication the whole time back and forth all over the field, and it just made it so difficult to do, but so rewarding when it was, put together.
Right. It's not just within the battery and within the
Yeah,
front ensemble, but back and forth while they're all changing colors.
absolutely.
It's so well planned.
Woo, look at the feet. Like that. It's a good shot.
You know, this is a little bit of a throwback song. This is kind of old school. I think it's a brave selection for 2001.
Right.
Because it's
I
not.
remember from a programming standpoint, this was supposed to represent like the frolic of the assembly line of the workday kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is a throwback to 87's drumline.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very much.
Absolutely. Well, in the form too. It's a classic concert art.
Oh, I
right?
love this shot. I wish they kept doing this, except
Those,
for the
yeah, the
steadier
judge
hand.
cams were cool.
Yeah, that was short-lived, I think.
Yeah, that's funny. I think that was Alan Christensen's forehead. He taught the 87 lines. So, you know?
Ripple and smile.
You better catch that, Jesus.
Oh man,
Woo!
some great smiles.
Yeah.
Hey, Charles Frost.
Yeah. Oh, this was tough. I'm not gonna
Variants
lie.
on a medieval team.
We started on a low D, Sam. Remember that?
Yeah, it was.
On an F horn, and we were way in the back, mellophones, when we hit this impact. But I love this ballad though.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the guard the first time because we were backfield the whole time, and finally being able to see what they were doing while we were backfield
Yeah.
was just, it brought it all together.
You know, I liked a lot about the literature of this show because it had a real healthy mix of music from kind of old and new, and this would be like an older piece, and this lento pesante movement is so because the variants, there's so many variants in this original piece, and this is kind of the one that kind of makes or breaks a group whether they can really pull it off because it's so lush and the chorales and I thought we did a very, very good job with this.
You can
Man,
see
we are way back
classic Vanguard poses throughout those pods.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, this shows very much a connection of old to new, and kind of you know, having an homage to Santa Clara traditions of old. And I love the way this form floats. So beautiful.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those generational shows as the new kids. Again, the cadet corps had just won the year before. Now a lot of those members were coming up, and then we have the members that we were still in the shadow of 99. And speaking of somebody that came up from cadet corps, Jason Anderson, drummer.
There you go.
Yeah. I like that shot.
That's a beautiful shot. That's a beautiful shot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you guys are running. You guys are running.
The color guard checking their watch. The color guard checks their watch to see how much time's left in the workday.
Yeah.
That whole ending sequence is just amazing. This is probably one of the most fun sections for me to conduct, and then I get to cue Mr. Aguilar in here in a second, and he every single night just nailed it. And
Amazing.
He played it in such a way that you're about to hear it.
Here it is.
Here it comes.
You better play it. There you go, Sam. I saw you. That was Sam's flank right there. Oh yeah.
And so great for the stadium lights to hide the crack in his bell that he put into that thing with his parade rest.
Yep.
Great job, Rifles. Great job.
This was, I love marching, like recovering with your breath and then marching with your horn down. Oh, I love it.
You could get those hard flanks in.
Yeah.
Such tasty percussion writing there.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that.
Just so beautiful.
Jim could make
and then that
anything
walking
sound good, like
bass line.
just simple eighth notes, and just sound amazing. Yeah.
That was a time in that part of the drum corps history when Jim was really exploring color, kind of in a way that Hannum used to do, or still does.
Yes.
Tom Hannum did that as well earlier.
Same with Ralph Hardiman, who Jim learned from. Same thing.
Nice job, Phil.
Woo, there you go.
Nice job, Phil.
Yeah, look at you can see Chris trying to get around there. Remember, he only had
Dude.
about one
Dude,
leg.
that's
for
another
Yeah.
thing we should
the
bring
majority
up.
of that
Yeah.
summer.
He did it. He did it.
He did it.
Oh, this is one of my.
That
Oh,
truck
yes.
claimed a lot of. And then the disposal leader through the halftime block. Oh my goodness! I remember that being hellacious to try to clean.
All this dissonance and thick harmony, building and building.
To maintain the energy right here. It's
I love that
challenging.
that we just saw two different blocks and two different like look at like high brass went low brass now we're going Myron. Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys hit a forte
Same.
piano on 3 here that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Dutch angle.
You did.
Yeah. Here we go. Oh yeah.
What was it? We could not say the words correctly. We had to change our.
We had to practice every-
several times.
everything.
Practice a lot. We practice every night. Yep. I was in charge of leading. Every.
You guys have to understand how much this little group filled my African American soul. You have to understand.
Dude, I love it
I'm
too, man.
I'm like, yes.
Go, Emily.
Bottle
I
dance.
taught Emily that.
Emily.
Yeah. Get it, guys. Here we go.
Sam.
Every great drum move
Running.
for the last
Here we go.
And I'm out of
5
breath.
years.
Man, we're
Here's the
playing this
99.
up to these A's.
You guys are gonna
Yeah, travel.
put this in
Go.
half.
Yep. Backwards.
Merge that now. You guys are running.
And then run the other
was-
way.
I was reviewing it earlier today, and my daughter says, "How old is this?" I said, "About 20 years." She says, "That's awesome."
Then we put our horns down, and that was
Yeah,
it.
you
huh?
guys were
Oh,
great.
man.
That was it. That was it.
Wow.
I don't even know if I had tears in my eyes yet.
The Santa
I
Clara
just felt like, yeah,
Vanguard.
Yeah.
we just did that.
Of Rick Venezuela.
Yeah.
Ah.
What an age out year. So many beautiful people aged out that year. Like, and Mark, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I have age out basics on video.
How about that show, you guys? I mean, 20 has it been 19 years now since
19 years, yeah.
and I think it holds up. I think it holds up really well. Yeah. And one of the most special things that happened to the Corps in 2001 was we got the opportunity to host Dr. Frederick Fennell, the Dr. Frederick Fennell. And it's something that was so magical. And I think for each one of us, it kind of hit home in a different way. So I know for me, getting to conduct for him in front of him was nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I felt like I'm doing a job here. I'm not going to try to conduct like a wind ensemble conductor all of a sudden. But at the same time, it was like one of the things that I did not know was that he knew Norman Delajoyo, the person who had written variants on a medieval tune, and we I think we performed that in front of him. So, and he had this great little speech about how him and Dr. Delajoyo were great friends, and so yeah, I thought we'd all just kind of go around the room and maybe talk about that memory, because that memory was obviously so special and amazing.
I remember that we were told he was going to come and conduct the America's a Beautiful Canada for us. And, he was this legendary conductor, and that's kind of all I knew of him at the time. But he ended up staying our entire rehearsal into the evening block, and then stayed after and spoke to us as a full corps. And just hearing him speak about our dedication and hard work and how he felt proud. I think he said at the end of his speech, like, "You make me proud to be a musician." And that was like, oh, we're just kids getting together, to do drum corps, and you're a world famous conductor. And to have him say that to us just really spoke volumes to what we were doing and making it like a legitimate thing that we had spent our summer working for.
Yeah, it was my rookie year in the A Corps. Fresh out of high school, I had just graduated high school like on Thursday, and then went up to Santa Clara for 9 to 9s on Saturday. So I didn't really know Frederick Fennell or anything of him, because I had started my music education process really anything, but everyone's like, oh my gosh, here comes the Frederick Fennell. It's like, okay, this is cool. No, he's the Frederick Fennell. Then they kind of explained like his history with the wind ensemble as opposed to like concert band and the influence that he had on the activities. Like, all right, this is going to be great. And again, I was so impressed with how he was talking, and sometimes the marching arts do feel like less legitimate of an art form as opposed to like a symphony orchestra or a concert band.
Troy, what were your takeaways from that day?
Woo! Well, yeah, no, I pride myself in being a storyteller and taking things from every moment. I it was like a real life Yoda, and I'm not even kidding. I'm not even like as interesting as that sounds. The man was he showed up, and I watched every moment from when he parked, and his driver parked. He got out wearing all white. Okay.
Yep.
Just walking with ease and elegance. And then he said everything that Sam and Julio just said, but the one thing that sticks with me over everything, and I didn't even think about this deeply until the moment he said it. And now I say it when I teach. But he literally took a moment and said, you know what? And I want to thank you all for doing this activity, because there are a lot of kids who are at the lake. There are a lot of kids who are fishing. They're at the beach. They're doing all these things, and you guys chose to be here and do this. And I mean, I was like, you know what? We are missing things in life to come together and create this beautiful thing. And he recognized that. He didn't have to say that. Like Sam said, he's supposed to come, conduct America, Canada, and go. And he stayed and he said that.
Yeah, you know what? My take on the whole thing, was that I didn't even know he was coming. I think because he was going to conduct the horn line, and the percussion section really had nothing to do with America or Canada. That I don't remember anybody saying anything to us, and then all of a sudden this guy shows up. I don't know who he is, and he's wearing all white, and he kind of looks like he looked like the KFC guy, right?
A little bit.
And then he got up, and he was so small, and then he like got up, and his presence just like he grew, because he just was just so emotionally responsive to the core, and so I really took note of that. And then years later, as I was going through music ed and switching my focus from wanting to be percussion only to transferring over to wanting to be a conductor, and then I started studying all the stuff, and I thought, I met that guy, and then it's like,
the guy that wrote the book.
If I could only go back and ask him all these questions, and, but I felt, I feel lucky to have been able to be there. He did die a few years later in 2004, and I know that I think it was the Eastman Wind Ensemble. The very first concert after he died, they performed without a conductor in honor of him. So. Pretty amazing.
Heavy.
At the rehearsal that day, it was my second opportunity to spend time with Dr. Fennell. And back in 1994 at the Midwest Band and Orchestra Convention in Chicago, I was able to, he had a book, The History of the Eastman Wind Ensemble. And it's thick, and it's got him on the cover. And he signed it for me. I still have it to this day. And we went out to dinner. And it was so great.
Just you and him?
No, there was a couple of us, but it was at the end of it.
That's still amazing. That's still amazing.
Yeah. He was doing a signing session at the Ludwig booth for the book, because Ludwig was the publisher, and I think it was Ludwig. And then he just said, "Well, let's go get something to eat." And we're like, "You mean let us?" And so we went, and it was great, and we just talked shop all night. So here, fast forward to 2001. I wasn't as much a fanboy because I was a little more seasoned, but I still inside was just kind of like, oh my gosh. And he was, the thing that sticks out to me the most was he was genuinely surprised by the level of performance musically of the drum corps. I can't speak for him or his preconceptions, but when you say, hey, we're going to go out and check out this thing called marching band, if it's anything like a college marching band, that's might been what he may have expected. I don't know, but I think the level of performance was surprising for him. Like, it was better than he thought it was going to be. And I remember at the end, when before he left, we were having kind of a little bit of powwow, and he said, he looked at the staff who was there and just said, "You need to be applauded, because this level of literature, these students, these members get to be exposed to this kind of literature, and that I couldn't imagine that this type of repertoire would be used in a marching group." And he said, I'm so thrilled for these kids, because you as a staff are smart enough to expose them to great music. And that was a takeaway from him. And you're right. And he was, I look back in retrospect, he was old. He was somewhat, I would say, physically frail, and still traveling, obviously.
He was physically frail.
Mentally, he was right there. Like, mentally, he was
Sharp
solid.
as a tack.
Sharp.
Oh, he was wonderful. And so, and for him to take the time to spend so much time at the rehearsal, and and it's middle of summer and all that stuff, and he was so, and have such positive feedback about our members, about our staff, about our teaching, about our performance as members. It was just he was very affirming, and more than I thought he would be. And he really enjoyed the drum corps, and he enjoyed the performance. And he literally invented the wind ensemble. Literally invented the wind ensemble today.
That.
We use it. It's like he created that instrumentation at Eastman. And so it's, when I read that book, I didn't realize that it was him. And then, I'm going to call my buddy Persichetti. I'd like you to write some music for wind ensemble. Oh, okay. I'll get right on that. And then Persichetti talks to Paul Hindemith, and it all started. He has so many ripples in the water that we don't even know.
He must have known that his presence was going to do this. So turning to the corps and saying, "You guys could be at the park right now, but you're here," and turning to the staff and saying, "You guys are exposing these kids to literature." He knows that coming out of his mouth is going to have an impact, and it stays with every one of us to this day. It's just kind of a lesson about great teaching, right? You never know what you're going to say that makes that impact.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have any memories of the year 2001 Vanguard that you want to share? I mean, so I'll tell you guys a quick story.
Please.
I only ever met Mike McCool. I only ever talked to Mike McCool one time in my entire life. Mike McCool has passed away. God rest his soul. And Mike McCool was one of the big program coordinators, behind the scenes people for Vanguard. He never spoke to the corps, but he was in constant communication with Myron and the other lead designers for basically how the shows were going to go down. So in 2001, I was chosen as drum major, and I remember we're at Angels Camp, and at the end of rehearsal, Mike McCool tells Rick that he wants to talk to me. So Rick taps me on the shoulder and says, "Mike McCool wants to talk to you." And I was like, okay, right? So Corps goes off to dinner, and I go up into the stands and talk to Mike McCool. Mike McCool looks at me and he says, "Now, I want you to know this is coming from the fattest man on the planet." This is Mike McCool talking. "This is coming from the fattest man on the planet, but you cannot be the first fat Santa Clara drum major."
Wow, he said that?
Yep. And he says, "Chicken, rice, run." Chicken, rice, run. And he gave instructions to Rick Valenzuela, "Chicken, rice, run." And for dinner for the next 3 months and lunch, I got white rice, brown rice, and chicken breast. And I don't know if you guys remember me running during your horn blocks and during drum blocks, but
I do.
that was the one and only time I've ever spoken to Mike McCool, and he made me laugh. And I got it. He was sending me a message. I mean, especially coming after Mike Hayes. Come on, man.
I don't know if you remember the baseline that year, but they deserve some serious credit. Those 5 individuals, because the 5 individuals that you see in that video, only 3 of them started the season, and we went through 10 different bass drummers that year.
It was a struggle.
To end up with the 5 that we ended up with. And the only 3 that started were Chris Sear, and he started on top bass. Yeah. And then Matt Ring was on 4th bass, and Mocha Tim on 5th bass. So there was people moving in and out, and so those guys just held it down, and just every time they were moving forward, they'd lose another one and have to kind of start over. And
so I'm vying for the mellophone spot. No dice. Okay, well, I started taking my trumpet to camp. So like, yeah, you could be a trumpet alternate. Nobody's dropping from the trumpet section either. Now trumpets, not sopranos. Then Memorial Day camp rolls around, and there's 3 euphonium spots. So I walk up to Bill Watson. I was like, "So, Bill, I played baritone in the cadet corps the last 2 years." He's like, "Go get your youth." I did it. Yes. I got the spot.
Yeah.
And it killed me because I was stick boy back then. I was running track, so I probably weigh about half of what I weigh now. And so now I've got this big euphonium with no shoulders to speak of, and the staff is just riding me because half of them marched with my big brothers. And so they didn't even bother running my first name. It was all Sandoval. Get your horn up, get your horn up, get your horn up. I was like, it's my second day with this. But I also wasn't going to give up on that opportunity to play Short Ride on a Fast Machine, because that's one of my all-time favorite pieces of symphonic literature. And I knew that if I wanted to play that on the field, this was the price to pay. I was going to have to suck it up and pick up that heavy horn and get stronger. And I'm so glad I did it. I even had some words of encouragement from my oldest brother, who marched euphonium. He was a rook out in '96 on euphonium, and he said, "Look, you can either hold the horn and march the show, or you can put the horn down and come home." I was like, Yep.
Binary. Yeah. It's pretty
Time to do some extra push-ups.
I mean, those are your options. Yeah, man. A lot of people couldn't get over that hump. Tony in our last episode talked about people, dropping out, and especially after visual block, right? So it's a tough one. I remember coming back in 2000, and that euphonium is like got the shakes, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Sam, what are your memories from 01?
It was really special to be with Troy and to have Eric Aguilar as my section leader again, and to learn from them and to really have fun. I think I spent a lot of my first year just trying not to mess up. And so, just to be able to have fun and to really feel the music and feel the show and, feel strong and powerful. That was, I think, what I remember most about that show. It was kind of impossible not to feel strong next to Troy. So that was...
You had no choice.
No, he didn't let you. It was louder, harder, everything. So I think that's my biggest memory from that year, was just being one of those 4 mellophones was pretty special.
How about all that time with Dave Reeves standing on the same podium as you, right? Whispering sweet nothings to you.
Have you ever had a man stand that close to you for that many days?
Thank God he brushed his teeth a lot. No, no, he I can still feel. I think he left a little imprint, because he would tap on my shoulder a lot and that was the cut sign, was the tap, and then he'd shout how they did it wrong, and reset, and then come back and have his Met right behind me, taking the Met in and out. Like, ooh, I'd hear it, and I wouldn't hear it.
I was going to record everybody. I was going to talk and introduce because I remember being a rookie and not knowing everybody in the Corps. And people like coming up to me even as I aged out. We marched together in 97. I'm like, who are you? You know, so I made an effort. There was a period of weeks, like maybe 2 weeks, where the girls in the Corps were getting ragged on left and right, just getting called out at the box. And I took it upon myself, being an African American, being a minority. I said, look, I'm going to be an honorary girl today. And I told them, we're going to bring it in. And we had a little Sam, you remember this. We had a legitimate powwow. And I said, look, girls, like, look, I'm an honorary girl today. Like, and I'm hyping them, you know, I can hype people up. I was hyping them up. And I said, guys, we have to kick 2 butts, okay, in order to just look like these guys over here who are average. So from here on out, I'm with you. When you get called out at the box, I'm going to celebrate. With this, that, but we got to kick butt. And they were like, yeah. Because this was around the time when people were saying, this is my age out year. You're not going to ruin it. I was like, no. These girls are going to make it special. And they did. They made it wonderful because they were all in their individual right. They were beasts. And I saw it. I said, you don't need to talk to them like that. You need to encourage them. You need to inspire them. That's how you do it. And I said, I'm going to be a girl. I want to be a girl. We had a really good talk, you know, and they showed up. And I appreciate that because it always goes back to this for me. After 97 Charlotte, I remember, I can't remember the instructor, but I remember someone saying, thank you, rookies, for showing up for the show. And I was like, yes, this is the moment where I need to tell them, thank you for coming here. Thank you for kicking butt day in and day out and getting ragged on. Like that, you know, that's just a choice. You have a choice to either quit, like Julio said, put the horn down and quit, or leave it up and march. And they left it up and they marched, and I was very proud of that.
Drum major.
But I just want to share my appreciation with you, Mark, because I think you did a great job. There are different types of leaders, and we saw all of them. We started with Damon, who was a monster. You know, we had Chosen. We had all these people. But I honor all of you, and I just thank you because that's not an easy job that you did. You know, it's not an easy job. And you were in the trenches, and then you became the leader. And, boy, you did wear that uniform. And when I don't remember what show it was when you guys put the throwbacks on, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Mark, you look
We did
great.
that for awards
Yes,
at a couple of the regionals.
Bucks.
Danny Vanetta had the uniforms from '72, I think. Yeah.
That
was
was
really
great.
Wow.
That was
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
It was beautiful.
Got a couple of cool shots
So-
with me. Maybe I can have them flash up on the screen here if I can do some
Yeah, that would be awesome.
video magic.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
a powerful year. Loved
Man,
it.
you guys, I cannot thank you enough for coming and reviewing the year 2001, a new era, Metropolis, new era. And man, it's just been such a treat for me to see everybody and to hang out and to hear your stories. And I do want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here. Once again, my name's Mark.
And I'm John.
And this has been the Santa Clara Vanguard. Hit that like and subscribe button for our latest episodes. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.